How do people end up in bad relationships or bad marriages? While there is a complex array of reasons, there is one in particular that I want to point out that is kind of at the start, a mistake that many make. And that one is going into a relationship that doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, in the hope that this person will change. There is that belief that if he really loves me, then he will change, or if she really loves me, then she will change or stick with me or put up with anything, or that somehow I will manage to influence him or her and they will change and things will be better, will get better after, especially after marriage. The truth is, that is a big lie. That is a big mistake to walk in. And you might say, but I've seen people sort of change, and I've seen that in somebody and somebody else's relationship. Here is the difference. People change only if they decide to change. So it's not up to you, it's up to them. Second, over the lifetime of a relationship, people can change to worse or can change to better. But this will depend solely on them. They will change to worse if there is not a clear awareness of where they are going and they don't have a very good set of values. And they will change towards better if they have a clear set of values that they adhere to and that serves as a guiding principle in their lives. Another thing to keep in mind is your best intentions might cause the worst reaction in him or her. Why? Because you're running into a particular kind of thinking or acting that has been in the forming for years, starting in the family of origin. And what starts there pretty much always is the cause of issues and difficulties further in their relationships. Because this is where attachment forms, healthy attachment and unhealthy attachments then will be replayed in the close relationships as adults. So, for example, if someone growing up has not been given proper autonomy, especially at the most sensitive stages in their development, by either an overprotective parent or a too strict of a parent, these people growing up, they find themselves with an internal conflict when it comes to authority, a conflict of fear of saying no and at the same time disdain for having to be told or for following any kind of authority. So you might find yourself in a situation where the person expects you to tell them what to do, to take leadership, and at the same time just to find themselves resisting it or opposing it in any kinds of ways, whether it's open or mostly it's usually more covert. So you'd find yourself in this constant conflict with the person, and you can't understand what's going on, why you can't have a compromise, why you can't have an understanding and agreement, and kind of why things are not flowing smoothly and easily especially when it seems that there are such simple things. But this is what is happening underneath the mechanism that it's running this kind of interaction. Another example is, for instance, when trust has been compromised early in childhood, where a young child was not given proper consideration and was being somewhat ridiculed and put down, and their needs were not taken seriously. So there is a sense of helplessness that they experienced. Growing up, what you would usually find is someone who is charming, strong, in control, wants to be always one up. They can tend to be manipulative or seeking to betray first rather than being on the receiving end of being betrayed. So honestly asking for help would translate as being vulnerable and helpless to them. So that can be a real barrier in creating this emotional connection, which is absolutely fundamental for a healthy relationship. So as you can see, changing someone, despite its good intent and potentially wonderful outcomes, it's not an easy thing. So how do you make a better choice of a partner in order to avoid any of these pitfalls? Well, the best advice is to have a very clear idea about what your values are, so that you know what are the things that you absolutely cannot compromise on, those that are non-negotiable for you, and then clearly keep them in mind when going into a relationship. This is the secret that makes great relationships easy. And it's not like it has to be a 100% match. There are a lot of things that make for each individual uniqueness, such as different interests, hobbies, different character traits, even that make one unique and different than the other. And often, this is what adds color and vibrancy to a relationship. So, it's not about being a 100% match, but except for those non-negotiables. And sometimes non-negotiables can be simple things like, for example, somebody that is very active and would like to, spend a lot of time outdoors. And if their preference is to spend it with their partner, then it would be quite important to choose someone with similar to some degree level of energy and interest. Or if you're okay to spend these weekends and outdoor activities with some friends, then having a partner that absolutely matches that level of energy is not so necessary. So it's a little bit of this kind of day-to-day, almost life issues. How do you do that? So here's an exercise that you can do even right away. On a piece of paper or in your journal, write all the things that are important for you and would like to have in your relationship. Then draw two circles, one smaller and one bigger. And inside the smaller one, write down all the things that are absolutely non-negotiable, those values that are very important for you. And then on the outer circles, those that can be negotiated, those on which you can compromise. This will give you a very clear idea so that at some point when you get into a relationship, you can even have a discussion around that. And this allows you to be very clear about what you expect. I hope this is useful. Subscribe for more, and I hope to see you in the next video. So you might ask, why would someone continue to stay with a person like this or even end up with a person like this? Things are a bit more complicated here.